most builders think that better features automatically means more users. But have you ever heard of Quibi? Well, me neither. They raised $1.75 billion and hired Steven Spielberg and then died in 6 months. TikTok crushed them. And the reason why is simple. They violated the 6 principles of persuasion by Robert Cialdini. And in this video, I'm going to show you how to use them. We'll go through each principle and show an example and how to apply that to your product. I saw these principles work firsthand at a SaaS startup that got acquired for over $100 million, and I used them myself to build an 8-figure marketing company. So these things work. These aren't marketing hacks. This is research-backed psychology that has driven billions of dollars in sales for some of the biggest companies in the world. From Dropbox's 3,900% growth to why you probably never heard of Quibi either. Because right now you might be in that same trap, building something great that nobody wants to use. But these principles will change that. So let's get into it with the first principle that actually caused Quibi's downfall, the social proof bias. The social proof bias is the most powerful you could possibly use. It states that people follow what other people do. Pretty simple. But as simple as it might be, most people that are trying to build products or businesses do not consciously try to apply this principle. Now, you can see this type of proof smattered across nearly every single successful app you encounter. But if you're a new founder and don't have many users, then what do you do? Well, there's 2 types of proof: implied proof and direct proof. What you see most of on those successful sites is direct proof. Things like 500 paying customers, 500 happy subscribers. But indirect proof can be used by anyone, and it's just as powerful. So there's actually at least 9 different types of implied proof that you can use. If you want to see a specific video on just these 9 types of implied proof and how to use them, let me know in the comments below and I'll make a video on that. But let's look at an example of using credible sources or celebrity links to imply proof. Let's say you built an N8N competitor. Instead of saying 500 happy users, why not offer a quote from a celebrity like Elon Musk, saying something like, robots will be able to do everything better than humans can. Or maybe it's just a quote from a respectable news source that proves the same point. Either way, proof is a big psychological motivator, and there's a lot of different ways that you can imply proof of what it is your product does. But there's an equally powerful principle that you can also tap into, which is called the reciprocity bias. This principle states that people feel obligated to take action when they receive something first. For example, Dropbox gave you 500 megabytes free simply for referring a friend, and then gave the friend 500 megabytes free too. So that type of system compels action because the user gets something first, and then they feel obligated or inclined to take the action you are requesting from them. So in this case, it was a double-sided reward that creates a viral loop, triggering reciprocity on both ends of the equation. Now for builders, there are some easy ways that you can do this. Free trials, freemium models, free tools or value-driven content, even things like one-on-one onboarding calls for your first 100 clients. Now that's just scratching the surface, but you get the idea. How can you give value ahead of time in exchange for the action that you want from your ideal customer? Now, even if you've given value up front and triggered reciprocity, some users are simply going to forget. They get distracted, they abandon ship, they follow the next shiny object, unless you can tap into something even more powerful. The third principle states that people are deeply compelled to appear consistent, meaning what they say matches what they do. So there's a really simple example of this that you've probably seen before. Onboarding checklists. They're not just features meant to help you onboard. They're a powerful psychological lever that is used to keep you committed to the actions you're taking in the app. When you sign up for an app like Notion, you'll see something like getting started, 3 of 7 steps complete. Well, once you've hit step 3 of 7, you're 43% complete, and you don't want to abandon that progress. You want to remain consistent and committed to what you have already started. This is the same psychology that Dropbox used. Once they had their first user uploading a file, they were locked in. So how does this translate to how we build stuff? Things like onboarding progress bars can help prevent abandonment. Setup checklists should be broken down into small wins that trigger that commitment bias. And a really big one, the time to the first win inside of your app should be less than 5 minutes. Now that's just scratching the surface of what's possible, but it gives you a huge leg up in terms of retention, and it can even be used in your marketing material, because one of the most powerful things people feel compelled to be consistent with is their ideals. If they self-identify as a certain group of people and you position your marketing around being for that type of person, and that people in that group use this type of product, they are going to be compelled to try it out because they have, again, psychological consistency and commitment bias at play. So things like progress bars and checklists, they create momentum, but momentum doesn't really mean much if people don't trust you. So how do unknown builders establish that trust? They do it through authority bias. Authority is simple and probably one of the most relatable of this list. People listen to trusted experts and credible sources. This is why in pharmaceutical commercials, everybody's always got on a lab coat. Now, Stripe is a great example here because when they launched, they did not have existing brand recognition. So what did they do? They leveraged Y Combinator's authority. They showcased logos. They emphasized certifications that they had, and they published technical documentation that established their expertise in that industry. So similar to social proof, you can imply authority in some really simple ways. Security badges like SSL certificates and GDPR compliance logos, powered by associations using tools like AWS or Stripe. Founder credentials, which you see a lot of in the startup space, built by ex-Google engineer, built by ex-Amazon engineer. Those are ways of manufacturing authority. 10 years in the industry. There are a lot of ways, if you really think about it, that you can position who you are and your past experiences to be an authority builder for what you are doing now. Another powerful way is featured in badges, right? Featured in Product Hunt, featured in Hacker News. So if you're a first-time builder, target micro-influencers and product launch platforms, and then think through how you can use the feedback that you're getting from those channels to imply authority in your marketing material. So authority builds trust, but trust alone does not build raving fans. You can be the most credible expert in the world and still lose users to another app that someone simply likes more. Because in marketing, at the end of the day, logic doesn't win, emotion does. So principle number 5 states that people buy from people that they like. Think of the rise of a project management tool like Linear. They're taking serious market share from a tool like Jira. Why is that? Linear has a really nice dark mode aesthetic. They have very intuitive keyboard shortcuts. They're obsessed with speed, product development speed, and all of their messaging is circled around this idea of being built for builders, whereas Jira feels very sterile, corporate, enterprisey. And so Linear's personality attracts developers that are into the speed at which they can move and their craft. So Linear didn't just build better software, they built and positioned something that developers actually liked. Same with the email app, Superhuman. Delightful animations, personal onboarding calls, premium positioning that makes users feel special, positions that they make email feel like you're playing a game. It's no wonder that I think every single person I know that actually uses Superhuman is a gamer. So how do you get people to like you? Well, it needs to come through in your personality and how you position the identity of you or your brand. And you do that in both the marketing as well as inside of the app itself through the user experience and user interface. Here's what you can do. Inject real personality into your landing pages as well as your actual features. This is called microcopy. You can jump down that rabbit hole if you want to. Show the people behind your startup. Founder videos and demos on the homepage, saying that it's built by Sean Kochel. Behind the scenes content about what it's like actually building this company. Personally handle support at the beginning stages of your company and seriously over-deliver on it. So above all, be authentic. Be honest about where you are and what you are trying to do. Building a likable brand creates pull, but there's one final principle that turns it into obsession. It's the same reason that people will stand in line overnight at an Apple store waiting for a launch. It's manufactured desire through scarcity. People have an irrational desire for things they can't have. And that's what the scarcity bias taps into. When the email tool Superhuman launched, they had invite-only access, mandatory personal onboarding calls with the founders, and $30 per month pricing despite Gmail being free. And do you know what the result of that was? A 250,000 person wait list. People wanted in because it was so hard to get in. It was the same thing when Manus launched their general purpose agent earlier this year, or when Kira launched from Amazon, or when Notion launched. They had an early beta with limited spots, and only people inside of the beta could invite friends with their codes. So they're creating structured scarcity, which drives people to actually want it more. So how can you apply the same principle? Wait lists with positions in line, early bird pricing, like the first 100 customers get 50% off forever, invite-only betas where users get 3 to 5 people that they can share access to, legitimate capacity limits, legitimate onboarding limits, feature gating, very advanced things so that the first people that sign up get access to what will be premium features in the future if they sign up now. Now, with all of this, the thing you absolutely want to avoid is fake scarcity because it's very cheesy and very played out. But if you're in, for example, the B2B software space, it's very reasonable that you might only be able to do a handful of onboardings every month. So whatever it is that you decide to do, make sure it is real scarcity and that you are going to adhere to whatever limits you put in place. So that's it. 6 principles that separate winners from losers, backed by decades of research. Proof, showing people that others trust you. Reciprocity, giving first to force reciprocation. Consistency, making people feel obligated to be consistent in their ideas and actions. Authority, showing people that you are trusted. Showing people that you are just like them. And scarcity, showing people that they need to act now or they will miss out. Now, if you want to join a group of people trying to build software and apps and businesses that are applying these types of principles, make sure to join the free group in the description below. And if you want more videos like this one showing up in your feed, make sure to subscribe. But that is it for this video. I'll see you in the next one.